Hey everyone, it's Jabari Whitehead. I'm here again, looking to continue the conversation that started some time ago now. I'm calling this part, How Am I a Threat? But I want to talk about dehumanization. Why dehumanization? Dehumanization is what allows something as much as George Floyd or armed, unarmed black men or women to be senselessly murdered, killed. All the names you can think of that keep getting rattled off. And now we have a situation in Wisconsin where a father, another one looked like me, was shot 7 times in the back. Now he's paralyzed from the chest down. Once again, it brings about those images in my own head. It's just more sleepless nights. Once again, we have officers no longer unable to answer the calling of protect and serve. I've had conversations with patrol units, people who work for Homeland Security, different levels of government, law enforcement. The agreement is that it shouldn't matter who is showing up to protect and serve. There's no excuse for what is happening outside of dehumanization, with the fact that an individual's underlying bias or explicit racism sees the person's life as not human, animal-like. One of the factors that contributes to dehumanization is following labels. We keep following labels of Republican, Democrat, religious, I support the police, or Confederate flag, conservative, liberal. It's those labels that people keep hiding behind that allows them to be morally disengaged from what is really happening. We can't escape oneness. We're all entangled as human beings in this life that we're in. But we still don't get it. For the change to happen, it is those officers who say, those departments who say, it's not me, it's not us. It's going to take those departments, those good men, women, those people who are serving and still meeting the call, to stand up, to stand out, and not get the woe is me, poor us conversation at a podium. It's to go introspection, look inward, and stand in the gap. Be the courage that people of color, the people who are at this point an endangered species, need you to be. That's when the change is going to come. When you're co-conspirators, when you're allies, when you're able to stand up and stand out in front and say, enough is enough, but from your voice, in your uniform. Even when you're away from your hours or shifts. All these things happening is not good for these officers. It's not good for our society. And going back to the the man in Wisconsin who was shot in the back 7 times, now paralyzed, that happened in front of his children. So now we have a father who is no longer whole, regardless of what people may think about this human being. And I'm quite sure there's some digging up some facts somewhere, some nonsense. We have children who were in that car who witnessed that and now are traumatized, and adds to the generational trauma. And yes, it can be genetic. Yes, it can be passed down. The sights, the sounds that children see on television, in their communities. Activism is great that they get to see their families stand up for what they believe in. The adults stand up. They learn lessons. However, not only did these children have to deal with COVID, not only did the people of color have to deal with COVID-19 and the fear-mongering that's happening in our power structure in this country at this point, but now we got to deal with the micro trauma or the actual macro trauma on the lives of these children, these people. And yes, myself as well. When you can see yourself dying in your dreams at night and waking up, and I wake up early anyway, but when you wake up and you just got to check to make sure it's not true that you're still alive, that nothing actually happened. You have to kickstart your self-worth again and get back out there and still have belief and optimism that yes, we are in a great world, that we do have good people, that there is kindness out there and compassion. And I know there is. But these things won't change until officers are allies, standing in the gap, speaking out aggressively, challenging other departments, not being reactive. We're in a situation right now where officers, departments, law enforcement, they're just hoping things calm down, just give it some time, it'll all go away. And they're right to an extent because they're people. Because right now, things are getting back to normal a little bit. Things is going to go away because we're not paying attention anymore. I wish the same outrage that we have about people wearing masks and COVID-19 and the economy was extended to the toxic racism and bias that fills the lungs of the majority in our country. Toxic racism. It's easy to be upset and file the cop out of, oh, they said defund the police. Let's use some common sense and think about the underlying factors. Extremes are what sells. We know that language is extreme and it sells. But it was the goal of what really needs to be done. That's the question. And how do you act on that? And those of you, friends, or anyone else who have the opportunity to listen to this, are you learning? Are you reading? Are you going to meetings to see what kind of policies have an impact on those who feel powerless, who don't have access to opportunities? Are you teaching your children? Are you helping them see with a broader mind, with fresh eyes, see the truth so they can learn and not repeat the same mistakes? We can't count on schools to do it. We have a responsibility at a school to shift this curriculum and make sure we don't repeat the same culturally lacking, unresponsive curriculum that only teaches what is safe, what fits the narrative, so you can avoid the tough topics. Dehumanization allows people to attribute their behaviors to something beyond themselves. Enough is enough. We need allies. We need co-conspirators. And it must start with the people in a position to get it done. officers, if you're still willing to meet the call, you can do this. Anyone want to continue this conversation, connect. It needs to happen. And so does the action. Let's keep going. It's not over. It's far from over. Thank you.